Happy second half of a back-to-back Grizzlies fans. The Grizzlies are playing again today. This time it is in Washington. They're taking on the Wizards tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time. Joining me from Washington, D.C., Chase Hughes. Welcome.
Thanks for having me back.
I'm so excited to have you back, and I'm extra excited because we're playing Tyus Jones tonight, a familiar face. Let me set up the game for everyone watching. Grizzlies are 0-2. Wizards are 0-1. It is their home opener tonight. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. I'm going to do a quick injury update. There's nothing updated for the Grizzlies. However, it is still long. Jaw is still out. Steven and BC out. Santi and Luke still out. On your side, Chase, is it just Johnny Davis and Landry Shamet?
That's correct. Landry Shamet's close, but not ready.
Okay. So no today. Maybe we'll see him next time when we play the Wizards. The Wizards, this is what I'm going to start with. The Wizards in their first game gave up a franchise record for the Pacers, 143 points. Now, the Grizzlies aren't the highest scoring team in the league, but they are a team where a whole bunch of guys can score. We had Desmond Bane have 31 in the first game. We had Marcus Smart have 20 in the second game. Is defense an issue, or do you think that was just maybe a let's get the jitters out first game type of thing?
I mean, I think defense is definitely an issue after that game. I didn't realize it after watching until I saw ESPN tweet the stat that it was the fifth time a team has scored that many points in a season opener, and the most in 33 years. And I know in this day and age, like, a lot of points are scored, a lot of three-pointers are made, but certainly you can't ignore that stat. And I think what we saw was a center rotation that's still trying to kind of find its way. They have Daniel Gafford, who last year was paired with Kristaps Porzingis, and they were two pretty much top 10 shot blockers, just if you look at blocks per game. But Porzingis isn't there anymore. And now it's Gafford, and behind him is Mike Muscala and Danilo Gallinari, two veteran players who are probably more offense-oriented. So a lot of it is falling on Daniel Gafford's shoulders. And in last game, he had 4 fouls. He got in foul trouble very early on. He had 3 fouls in the first half and picked up his 4th early in the third quarter. So the Wizards had to navigate around that. And it's a lot of new players that are trying to figure out how to play together. So that's also a factor. But certainly defense is a concern after the way they played in their opener.
I'm looking at, Jaren for us had 21 points in the last game. Marcus 20. Derrick Rose off the bench had 16. And all training camp kind of leading up preseason, this Grizzlies team was like defense. They've got the 2 last defensive players of the year. When you look at, let's say this. The Grizzlies got up 76 threes in their first 2 games. The percentage wasn't great, but you'd think at some point you're trying to get those to fall. Is it 3-point D? Is it transition defense? Like, is there a specific struggle that the Wizards are having right now, or is it just all around? Like, the big man is not the position that the Wizards need to be worried about with the Grizzlies because we're so thin in that big man rotation. So if you take that out of the equation, is there something else that the Wizards need to focus on defensively?
Definitely transition defense. And I think that's also part of the chemistry issue, because I think they've got some pieces that could lend themselves to transition defense. They've got 2 wing defenders with size, and Bilal Coulibaly and Denny Avdia. Coulibaly's got a 7'2" wingspan. I think over time he's going to be really, really good at transition defense. But he's a rookie. He just played his first game, right? And Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, a lot of it, of course, is going to fall on them to get back on defense. But the Wizards are trying to take a lot of threes, and that leads to long rebounds. And they played a Pacers team that last season was up near the top of the league in fast break points and transition efficiency. So I think it was a really tough test for that in their first game. And it's not going to be easy to go up against the Grizzlies, who like to play fast. I know they're missing some pieces who help them do that effectively. But this is another big test for the Wizards. We'll see how it plays out over time, but certainly that was a big point of emphasis in game 1 from Coach Wes Unseld Jr. because he did not like their transition defense, and that's something that he really harped on going into that game.
And then offensively for the Wizards, Kuz had 25, Poole had 18, despite going 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. Tyus Jones, another guy, 16 plus 6 assists. Obviously, like, the big 2 are Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. The Grizzlies going to come in and try and contain those 2. What do you expect from those 2 tonight?
Well, I expect Jordan Poole to shoot better than he did in the first game. We'll see how the percentages play out over time. He has been an efficient player at times over the years, and then he struggled with his shooting percentages. But we got to see what he looks like over time, over the course of several months, outside of the shadow of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But we saw in the preseason, he could light it up in certain games, and then other games not shoot as well. He had 41 points in 3 quarters at Madison Square Garden. So I would expect him to shoot better, but that is assuming that Marcus Smart might be guarding him. Marcus Smart, as you mentioned, is Defensive Player of the Year, so that's not going to be an easy matchup. But he's the type of guy who can get hot and fill up the box score very, very quickly. So I would expect him to play better. And Tyus Jones, we all know, you and I talk to athletes all the time.
We love Tyus.
Yeah, I know you love Tyus. And also, these guys want to show out against their former team. So I would expect him to have a good game. It's the home opener. These guys want to put on a show in front of the DC fans.
Yeah, on top of it being the home opener, I did see a stat that I wasn't a fan of, but I'm sure you will be, and that is Washington has won the last 2 times that they've played the Grizzlies in Washington. So not great. That means 2 full seasons of the Grizzlies not winning in Washington. Hopefully from our end, we turn that around tonight. Chase, my last question for you. One matchup that you are excited to watch.
I would say Jaren Jackson Jr. against Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford, like I said, has got a lot on his shoulders this year, but I think he's going to have a good season. And Jaren Jackson Jr. Is a Defensive Player of the Year. They're about the same size. They're both super athletic. So I think that's just going to be a great test for Daniel Gafford. And the hope for the Wizards is that he can stay out of foul trouble, because when he's in foul trouble, then you got to have guys like Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala protecting the rim. And that's just not their game, right? Gallinari is a 3 by trade, who's now trying to play as a 5. And he's not a bad rim protector. I think he's a little underrated in that regard, but they need Daniel Gafford on the floor. So hopefully he can have a better game than he did in the opener.
Well, take exactly what you just said, copy and paste it towards Jaren Jackson Jr., because we would also like him to stay out of foul trouble. There we go. Big guys, big matchup, stay out of foul trouble. Let's have a good one. Chase, thank you so very much. And good luck in your home opener tonight.
Thanks so much for having me.
Grizzlies fans, remember, it is a 6 o'clock tip tonight. It is on Bally Sports Southeast. We will see you there.